All right. Hi, everybody. I'm Joyce with Johnson Plastics Plus, and this is Brittany. We're members of the Advanced Support Team. We're here today to talk about the Roland BY20 DTF printer, all of the different accessories, as well as the shaker unit that you're going to need to get started in DTF printing. But before we get into that, a few things of housekeeping. If you have any questions, feel free to throw them in the chat. We'll address them as we see them. And then as a reminder, this is going to be recorded and put in the hub. So let's go ahead and get started. So what is DTF printing? To start with, it is a direct-to-film process where the ink is applied directly on to a specific film. It is normally done with a CMYK, so your colors are put down first, and then white ink is put on top. You then powder that ink after it comes off of your roll to create an adhesive powder, basically. And then that is cured. That's cured under heat. So that can be done with using an oven, such as our shaker unit uses, or with a heat press. That print is then stable. So that print then can be held onto. You can kind of hold on to them. So you can print in large batches and then adhere it to different materials. So what type of materials can you go ahead and put this on, Brittany?
You can pretty much put it on everything. It works really well for polyester and things that you usually can't do, like direct printing. Yeah.
So for example, something like a synthetic material, like a sports material, something that's got spandex in it, you can adhere it to that. You can also put it onto something like a sports jersey. For example, like this baseball jersey, where you cannot always adhere something. You can't, as Brittany was talking about, you can't put this in a DTG printer, a direct to garment. The ink would just kind of run off of it. So we're going to go ahead and talk about other materials.
Here's a canvas bag that we put it on, and that worked out really well. It kind of like molds to the material, so it works out really well when you put DTF on things like this.
So this is another great example of a canvas, kind of a linen material. So it's like a waffle weave, and it just adheres to all of those fibers to get a really nice clean bond. One great thing is it doesn't have to be something standard. It could be something like a lunchbox, or the ton of a shoe or a baseball hat. The options are endless. It's just really more for apparel than hard surfaces. So it's going to be an apparel base. So one of the things we're going to cover today is the process from start to finish. And one of the things we're making is a t-shirt. And we kind of took the idea of, let's say you have a customer and they're going to be outside, they're going to be doing things, bending over. The nice thing about DTF is it's really stretchy. It's got four-way stretch to it, so that's going to hold up really, really well. The rolling machine is rated for about 75 or more washes, so that's quite durable. So we're going to actually show you printing this design, putting the powder on it, and adhering it to a shirt. So we're going to have a lot of stops today on our pass through. But before we actually do that, I want to talk a little bit about the extras, the things that are little add-ons that I like to make this a little bit easier. So you're going to want to lint roll your shirts. Just helps keep any loose fibers from also adhering underneath your design. I like to keep a pair of scissors around because the roll is 20 inches wide, so you're going to have some extra material to trim away. So that way then you're not trying to fight all this extra material when you're putting it on a shirt. And one of the cool things we have, we're going to have to cold peel this film. What that means is after it's pressed with a heat press, we have to let it cool all the way down. So this is a little air fan that we have that just blows cold air, and you can use it to rapidly cool down a design, and that way you can get your peeling faster. And finally, the other two things, I prefer to press with a silicone sheet. So these are the non-stick sheets. And I like to seal my design with a T-seal sheet. So if you're unfamiliar with these, they're used to press in that design. You can use them over and over and over again. So you can see this one's had some love and it's been used a lot, and it's really, really, I know they're a little bit pricey, but you can use them for, it feels like eternity. Not quite. This one's got some tears in it. But the great thing is this really pushes that resin powder and the design into your fibers. So again, bumping up that durability and giving you a nice matte finish. So you're going to get to see all of these pieces in play in a few minutes. So let's start by talking about our printer. So we're going to come over here to the Roland BY20. So the Roland brought this out. It is a 20-inch roll printer. So no sheets, you're not having to worry about any of that. All of your film is right here on this roll. And I'm going to go ahead and open a couple doors here. So Roland designed this with some extra storage, as well as really good accessibility into the machine itself. So your inks are going to be up here. There are 5 channels. So you have a white, a CMYK, so cyan, magenta, yellow, and black. And these are cartridges. So cartridges come in a box like this, and it's a 220 milliliter cartridge. Below that is a storage compartment. This is where you could store extra pieces, maybe some extra spare parts, cleaning solutions, items like that, and you're going to have them really easily accessible to your printer. There is a clear acrylic door that opens, so you have access right up here where the print head is at, as well as your feet that kind of hold the paper down. Over here, this is again access to the print head, so easy to clean. The print head's right here. Roland has their own manual cleaning system. Like you're gonna have to do a little bit of maintenance. They recommend it daily, and it takes about a minute, minute and a half. It's not very complicated, but the nice thing is you have really good access. You're not shining a light. You're not crawling under something. You have access right at eye level. Finally, bottom door, we have a little bit more storage, but we also have your waste tank. So your printer has a waste tank for the extra ink from cleaning and waste ink from printing. So that is right here and easily just pulls out and has a replaceable inner cartridge. So you don't have to replace the black tank. It has like a little foam cartridge that goes inside of it. So they've made it very, very accessible. Also, this can sit flush against a wall. The back of it, you don't need to have any access to it. So you can put this up against a wall. You do really want this to be about counter height though, because as you're printing and you get more prints going, you're going to see this just kind of keep coming down, and you want to have that extra height so that your prints can kind of naturally come down and you can just keep this machine running. So a few things I like to keep on hand with this machine. I really like to have spare ink. You don't want to have a stop in printing. We're in this to continue to keep the machine running. You want print jobs continuously going through. So always make sure you just keep a little bit of extra ink on hand. I like to keep double the amount of colors that I have. So if I have 2 colors, I have 4 whites. That way then I don't ever have to worry about running out of that white ink. Other thing I like to keep on hand is there are a few little replacement parts. There is a rubber wiper, a felt wiper, the replacement of the cap top station, and that maintenance tank insert. I just like to keep those on hand. That way then again, you don't have a stoppage waiting for something to come in. You're just able to just replace a part and go. So that's the printer. Let's talk real quickly about the software that it takes to run this machine. So we're going to run back over here to the computer. I'm going to share my screen and take you through the software. Let me jump into this meeting here. All right. Okay, let me see. There's my screen coming up. All right. So on the screen, I have the Roland utility. So if you notice, the BY20 does not have an actual touch screen or a printer screen on it. Everything you would normally have on a printer screen is here in their software. So their software is called Roland DG Connect. And the great thing is you can actually connect multiples of these machines. So if you happen to have another Roland product that's in the Versus Studio, you can actually have that connected here as well. So you can see this is our machine. It has a nickname. We've nicknamed it the Diamond. And right now it's showing me it's on standby, which just means it's kind of in sleep mode. This machine does put itself to sleep. You never have to power it off. It's going to just kind of go into standby and wait for you to be ready to print. So the great thing is this also tells you all of the important information about your machine right here in one spot. Your serial number, your firmware version, and your IP address. This machine does need to be connected using Ethernet. So you're going to want to connect it using Ethernet, or you could potentially use maybe like an Ethernet to USB, but I'm going to recommend an Ethernet either directly to your router or directly to your computer. It'll be the most stable connection for you. So you also get these little icons here at the bottom. They are your shortcuts to different programs. So the first one we're going to look at is the capital B, capital Y. That is going to be this small version of the utility that pops out. And that is going to show you your ink levels here. And you can also get those in percentages. It's also going to show you the width of the roll, the printable area of that media. It's a 20-inch roll, but I can only print to 18.2 with how I have it set up right now. It's also going to show you your printer heater and dryer. As that print comes out, it dries it slightly so the ink doesn't run. It's also going to show you how much space you have in your discharge or your waste tank. So that way then, as you go forwards, you'll see this kind of fill up with dark gray, and it tells you when it's time to empty it. Up here under this little alert button, you can see you're going to get some notifications. Right now it's telling me it's time for daily shutdown. Not quite yet, a little bit later today, but if I needed to replace any parts or do anything else, it would go ahead and have those in there. So the other option is you have this little ellipsis here, and this is where you can jump in and see all of the independent settings that you can adjust for this media. You can adjust how fast it feeds out. There's many, many settings and adjustments you can do, which gives you the real control and ability to kind of get the best out of this machine you possibly can. So right now it is saying output is possible. I'm going to go ahead and send a print job, but to do that, I need to make it first. So one of the things that this software, or this printer comes with in its package is it comes with a program called Flexi Designer. And that is what this looks like in Flexi Designer. So I'm actually going to open up a new one and show you guys how I brought that in. So Flexi is, if you're unfamiliar with it, it started off kind of as a sign making program. And now Roland is partnering with them to build in their spot colors. So the Roland printers work with the concept of spot colors to create different layers. For example, a white layer, which we're going to add to this design. So to start with, we have to import the artwork. So I'm going to go ahead and import my logo, and I'm bringing it in as a PDF. So if you notice on this logo, I now don't see the white lettering. So I need to add that white underbase so that I can apply that to my design. So I'm going to highlight my design. You can see the Made and Clean company here. And I'm going to go up to Effects. The great thing is Roland, working with Flexi, has created these shortcuts. So all I have to do is add a solid underbase. And you can see now I've got kind of this gray line. It's outlining anywhere it's going to put the white ink at. So if I apply that, and I'm going to zoom in here a little bit, you can see even on the outside of the circle, all around here, it's going to put the white ink so that it's behind my CMYK to create that white layer that then I can apply my powder to. So once I have that set up the way I want it to be set up, and I've got my white layer added, I just need to export it from this program. So I would just go ahead and click Export. And you do want to export it as a PDF. So I would then title it. Click Save. And go ahead and send that out so that I can bring it into the next program we're going to use. So the next program we're going to open is VersaWorks. This is the printing program that Roland is kind of known for. Works with all of their Versa Studio machines, and it gives immense amount of control of how to set up your print job, how to create the best sort of layers. So we're going to go ahead and bring our artwork into this. And I'm going to go ahead and bring it in here. So under VersaWorks, you can see up here, I've got all my printers. We've selected the one we want to work with. And I'm going to click Add Job and bring in my logo. And I'm going to see it. Now, again, you can't see my white text here on the white background, but all I have to do is double click into this. And I'm going to get all of the layout controls that you would want with most software. So you're going to be able to size it. So I'm actually going to make this one a little bit bigger. I actually want to make it 12 inches tall. I'm going to put it just a little bit larger. I want to center it on our media so that way then it's going to be in the middle. I'll have a little even paper on either side. And then I'm going to come down here and I have some options of how I want to print this. Now you can control this and print just CMYK. You can print CMYK and then white, or you can print just white. So you have lots of control options here. Now I'm going to start off by saying I want to print just CMYK. So by doing that, actually, I don't know if I have the right file. We'll see here in a second, I guess. Let's double check. I can check and see if I have the right file, which I don't think I do. So let me grab the right file. There we go. So when I come in here, we're going to resize it real quick. Get our 12, get our centered. There's the white layer. So now in Roland, the white layer shows up as this like pink haze. So that way then you can kind of tell it's been added. And so I can print this and run it CMYK white. And if I do that, it's going to print the CMYK color. And at the same time, it's going to split that print head and it's going to print a white layer. Now, I will say, having worked with this machine a while, that takes a lot of time. It slows your print job down quite a bit because it's only dedicating half of the print head to your color and half to white. So I'm actually going to show you a faster way to print. So we're going to set this one up for CMYK only. And the one thing we're going to do is we're going to come down to cut controls. And after it's done printing, I'm going to have to go back to the beginning of the design. And this is the cool thing. VersaWorks has some great control in it. So we're going to have it go back to the origin of the design. And I'm going to say, OK. And then I'm going to duplicate that job. I'm going to come in here and duplicate it. And I'm going to go to the second one. And then I'm going to have this one just print white. And I'm going to come down here to that cut control. I'm not going to have it return to the origin after this. And I'm going to actually have it perforate the sheet cut. So this has a built-in knife that'll come across and it will either sheet cut or perf sheet cut. If it perf sheet cuts, it puts the blade in the material, lifts it back out, puts the blade in the material. So that way then it stays attached to that main roll and doesn't fall on the floor. So now that we have that design set up, we're going to put this as a generated job. So that way it's going to do one action and then the second action. So to do that, I select both jobs. I come up here to the nesting option and I click generated layer job. So now this has layer 1 and layer 2. And if you notice, it's going to line those both up perfectly. And so this is going to save us a lot of time in our printing because it's going to dedicate the whole print head to either printing all color or all white. So it's going to be quite a bit faster. If you were to print CMYK and then white, for this size design, it's going to be about 16 minutes. This is going to bring it down to about 6 to 7 minutes. So quite a bit faster. So we're going to go ahead and start this job. And I'm going to hit print, and then I'm going to tell it I want a couple copies. I'm going to go ahead and print 3 copies. So you can see it's just going to keep printing. All right. So it's going to go ahead and rip that design down, and then it's going to move it through to the print. And in our utility here, you're going to see this go from output possible to printing. And it does give you a miniature version of your design so you can see what it's looking like, as well as this top bar here where it says output possible will slowly turn green and give you a countdown as your print progresses. So it's taking it just a second here. It's going to send it over now. right. So it's shifted to printing output in progress. You can see our file name. The printer is cycling the ink, and now it's going to start printing. So I'm also going to trigger a job that I set up earlier that's a much smaller version of this design, maybe something for a left chest pocket or a sleeve, and I'm going to actually send that job too. And that way then this printer's just going to keep going. It's going to keep putting prints out all while we show you the rest of the process. All right. So it does look like printing output is in progress. I'm going to just jump back out here. And I'm going to go ahead. It looks like our print's going to take about 3 minutes, probably about 3.5 by the time it's done. I'm going to stop sharing and see. There we go. We'll get back onto our camera. You guys can see it's printing. So that print head's moving all the way across the left and right. You can adjust on these Roland printers to only print the width of your design. So that is another time saving that you could input. I just went ahead and have it print the whole width, mostly because I just haven't adjusted that setting. So while we're waiting here for our print, are there any questions? No? All right. So let's jump over while we're waiting for our print and let's talk about the shaker. So this is the Vaztec. Brittany, did you want to go ahead and talk about it?
Sure. Yeah. So this is our powder application system. It's all enclosed, so you don't have the powder floating around when you're applying it. It keeps it kind of contained in here. It has little removable clips, little ones, and then they can kind of go anywhere that you want them to. There's a whole bunch of different levels, so you can put it to where your film's going to fit perfectly inside of there. And then you have your power switch. This is going to power this top half on, and then this switch is going to power your belt. And then you're going to have your heat settings and your belt speed. When you do turn this down, they have it separate so you can keep your belt moving, so it gives it time to cool down before it totally shuts down. But yeah, it has these parts up here. This is what I find really cool about it. So when you have your powder, you're going to load it up here in the top.
The powder comes in a bag like this. And this is about a 1 pound or 1 kilogram bag. I think this has lasted us about 6 months.
And then once that powder is out, you'll find that this tray is full. So then you can just swap them out. So it kind of eliminates a lot of waste doing that. You can save a lot of powder that way.
Well, and the great thing is it eliminates waste, but it also keeps the powder from being airborne. So you don't want to inhale this powder. It does have a resin component to it. So you want to make sure that you're not inhaling it. So this is a filter that can be pumped, filtered either outside, or we have it attached to a little portable filter. So that way then you have that, so you're not breathing all those fumes in as that's baking. All right. And the great thing is the heat on this is super adjustable. You can also adjust the level of where the oven is at. So if you want to use it for other applications, such as screen printing, so you could use it for that as well. You do not. So we have a YouTube. Oh, the question was, do you have to have a shaker? And you don't actually. So in our original YouTube video that we made for this printer, we did this process manually. I put powder into a container, applied it to my design, shook the powder off myself, and then I actually cooked that powder onto the design using a heat press. And again, there I had my little filter at the back of my press. The difference is the amount of time it's going to take and the amount of mess. So that tray of powder kind of got everywhere. It would be on everything. I would be sticky. The powder was kind of into everything. And then the heat press takes about 4.5 minutes to 5 minutes to do a different type of design. And that's a long time. That takes that really adds up when you start multiplying that by multiple designs. This takes about 30 seconds between shaking and putting the powder on and putting it through the conveyor. And depending on how fast you're moving your conveyor, you're talking between 30 and 60 seconds. That's a huge time savings, as well as just mess. It's going to keep everything kind of contained and keep your shop a lot cleaner.
Well, and I think it's more consistent.
Absolutely.
You can just throw it in, you can walk away, you can work on something else, and you don't have to babysit this at all. We usually set something down there that catches our prints, and then we don't have to sit there and watch over it, and then it's ready to go.
So our print's hitting the final stage now. It's printed the CMYK and then the white. So before we powder it, I'm going to bring it up to the camera so you can see the prints, and then I'll have Brittany put the powder on it. And then we'll show it to you with powder, and then we'll cook it in the conveyor, and you'll get to see it with what we call orange peel on the back. So it's going to it's perf cutting this design right now. And then it'll immediately will start working on the next design. So it's just going to kind of keep going. So as you have somebody who's doing this in your shop, they could be working on other things and coming back and forth. You get a really nice workflow going. So I'm going to go ahead and just gently peel this off. I'll bring it up here so you guys can see. It's nice and wet. There's nice saturation of ink there. So let's go ahead and apply that powder.
We're going to adjust our clips so that that fits in here. Put it down here.
And obviously, since we had so much print area, we could have probably printed two of those side by side. But we just wanted to go ahead and show this just doing one design right now.
So we'll go ahead and release the powder.
Okay. So it kind of cascades down from the top over the surface of that print.
You just need to do it a couple times, and then it's going to do a like vibration to shake all that extra ink off of there.
Or the extra powder.
Or yeah, that's not.
Yeah.
We want to keep the ink.
And at this stage, you don't want to drop your print. Having done that a few times.
Yeah.
But you do want to just make sure you're looking at it to make sure you have a nice, consistent, even powder. I don't know how well it'll show up on camera, but it should look kind of matte now. And then we'll go ahead and put it through the conveyor. So our conveyor is set at about, I believe our temp is just under 6. It goes from 0 to 6. And then we're running it at about 30 on this machine. So, and that was a little trial and error. I've noticed if you're too hot, your paper will get very crinkly and your peel will look very burnt, dark yellow. If you're not hot enough, it's going to look like powder still. And then you kind of know, oh, I need to go through maybe again. You can put this through a few times. One thing to watch out for is if your prints are coming out oily, it means that you haven't fully cooked it. You need to go for maybe another pass through or maybe slow your conveyor down just slightly. So it's going to come through, and like Brittany was mentioning, a lot of times we have a catcher box. Everything kind of got squished together today for the video. And we just let it kind of fall into that box and just keep our flow going, and then grab the designs when you have a chance to actually put it on a shirt.
Here's a question here.
So the question is, can you keep the prints? Absolutely. So we actually have, they're on over here. I'm going to grab one. I just wanted to show some examples of some prints that we have had for a while. The 4th of July was not recent, and we just keep them. I like to keep them in the bags. We do have little oxygen absorbers in here. But the nice thing is these are stable. You can go ahead and put them on a shirt at any point in time. You do probably not want to keep a print for more than a year, but if you're making prints and wanting to sell those, just separately sell those, you could do that. They're safe. You could ship them. Yeah, which is really a great thing about this is you don't just have to be printing for yourself. You could be printing for other people too. So did it orange peel?
Yep.
So Brittany's going to show you what the orange peel looks like. I'm hoping that comes through on the camera. It should look kind of like the skin of an orange or like the skin of a clementine, just really fine lines, but it should also be solid to the touch and not tacky. Like you don't want to be able to like stick it to your fingers. It will, however, be hot coming out of there. So do be a little careful. You don't want to like burn yourself or anything. So this is going to keep printing, and we're going to move over to putting this on a shirt. right. So we have our heat press up here. We have a Geonite swing away, and we're going to go ahead and put it on a black t-shirt. And so this t-shirt's nice and wrinkly. It's just been sitting in our drawer. And the great thing is you can pre-press it and get those wrinkles out and then make it easier on yourself to line it up. So we're just going to go ahead and put this shirt on here. And I'll grab the lint roller for you. I'm going to just lint roll it real quick, getting that surface dust, since it's been sitting in our shop for a little while, off. Now, if you don't want to pre-press it, you don't actually have to. That's totally optional. The great thing is DTF sticks to pretty much everything. So depending on how your shop is and if you have a shirt that's super wrinkly or not, you could do a quick pre-press. But let's talk about our time and our temp. So we're at 320 degrees Fahrenheit for 30 seconds. So Roland has a informational sheet about the time and temp. It'll vary slightly based on your heat press, but it's going to be between about 20 to 40 seconds for pressing and between about 300 to 330 degrees. So we're hitting kind of the middle of that. So you want to go over putting a design on?
Yeah. So basically, once your shirt's on here, you've pre-pressed it or not, it's ready to go. We're just going to center our design how we want it and place it. And then we are going to put this reusable sheet on top. We are going to go ahead and press it.
Do that. We have our little fan thing we like, but you could also, if you're doing this in a workflow, just take the shirt and set it to the side and then peel it after you've maybe pressed 5 or 6 more. So you don't have to stop and do this peel with each one. You can do a whole bunch of them at a time.
3 seconds.
All right.
All right, and this is going to be pretty hot as well, so you'll want to be careful.
Like a little mini hair dryer. It's got a cool setting, so it's cold air. And the great thing is if your design's not ready to peel, you're going to know right away. So when you go to peel your design and you kind of break over the edge of that paper and start getting ready to peel it, if it doesn't release right away, you just know it's a little bit too warm still. And if you notice, excuse me, if you notice you're putting on material like linen, for example, or canvas, and maybe you have some wrinkles because that material maybe bowed up a little bit or anything like that, you can actually press this multiple times, which is kind of the great thing of you have time to work with it. So if you're not getting a great adhesion the first time, don't panic. Just press it again, let it cool all the way down again, and try to peel it one more time. If you lose an element in a design, it happens sometimes. A little tiny letter falls off, something just doesn't transfer 100% correctly. Maybe you lose the period at an exclamation point. You can actually just print that design again, grab that one single element and put it on. So the really great thing is it's really hard to mess up and it's super forgiving. So do you think it's ready to peel?
I think so. Give it a shot.
So she's just going to kind of break the corner over and you can see it's just releasing really nice and smoothly. And at the end of the peel, you're going to get that where it's almost like the outline of your design on the film. So it's nice. There's no color left behind, no white left behind. It's a really nice, even peel. And then the final step that we like to do, because right now it kind of has a gloss finish. I don't know if you want to show that to the camera.
Yeah.
it's kind of shiny. So you could stop at this point, but to increase your durability and to give it a matte finish, we're going to use T-Seal. And the T-Seal just goes on for the same heat and the same amount of time. So it makes your settings super easy. All right, we've got another print going. So our machine is just cruising along here. Okay. So we're gonna go ahead and let the T-Seal finish. The great thing is the T-Seal comes off really smoothly as well. You don't have to wait for that to cool down or anything like that. You just peel that right off, and then you're gonna get to see it's getting more of a matte finish. Sure. So the question was, what are some of the benefits of DTF versus screen printing or sublimation or some of the other printing processes that for applying to apparel? But before I get into that, we're going to show you the matte finish of this t-shirt. All right. So now it's got a really nice matte finish. And if you guys were here, you'd actually get to see that it's really embedded in the fibers of that shirt. So that's going to last. That white is nice and vibrant, so it's really vivid. And Brittany, do you mind going to the camera and stretching the design out? So I want to show you guys, it's got really great four-way stretch. So you can see, like, if somebody's, moving around a lot, this design's not going to break. It's not going to kind of flake off and come into pieces. So that's where I want to talk about why this is so good comparatively to some of the other things on the market. So the great thing is, let's talk sublimation first. You can only put sublimation on something that's polyester coated. It has to be light in color. So you can't do a black shirt. And you can't do it easily. So we're going to say DTF is way better for dark materials because you're going to get that nice, vibrant print because you've got the white ink beneath it and you're getting the durability. Something like white toner. So white toner has kind of the same principles. It's applying an adhesive, it's going onto a shirt, doesn't have to be polyester. However, the durability and the stretchability is not there. White toner tends to feel very plasticky and it breaks down much quicker. A lot of the papers are only rated for about 50 washes and some even less. And so you really are getting far bigger durability with DTF than you are with white toner. So screen printing. Screen printing can be really labor intensive when you're talking lots of colors. If you're printing just one color, that's great, but you have to make the screens, you have to have the specialty equipment. And if you're printing 3 or more colors, it gets really labor intensive. Where the great thing is, this is going to print really quickly. It's printing unchecked. We just kind of have it printing here. I jumped out of camera range. You can see we've got one design ready to actually go into the shaker and one design printing. So it's just cruising right along. I don't have to babysit it. I'm not having to jump over and change screens or rotate things. So the great thing is you can use this in a workflow where you are multitasking, where maybe it's a one-man shop or you don't have a lot of extra people to help you do all the extra work. And so you've got a machine that's kind of taking care of itself. You give yourself the best tools so that way then everything is quick and easy. And you can really turn out a lot of shirts in a short window of time. So I hope that answers that question. Oh, let's talk DTG for a second. So DTF and DTG are two different animals. So DTG is going to be direct to garment, so you're printing right on your material. And it is really, you have to have the right materials. It needs to be a natural fiber. Otherwise, if it's something synthetic, the ink is just going to run right off and is not really going to adhere in very well. It's going to look really bad. With DTF, you can put it on any fiber. It doesn't really matter. It can go on something synthetic, it can go on something natural. So your options are going to expand massively. I also like in DTG, if you mess up and your design doesn't look right, or maybe something just didn't happen, your ink ran, something happened, that blank is ruined. If you mess up in DTF and you miss a letter or something like that, you can fix it. You can put that letter back on. You can kind of adjust those things. So you're saving that ink instead of wasting it. which that adds up. T-shirts aren't cheap.